I came back
We're
up no more
recording back
than
here. You
this
feel me?
two
You
time
feel me?
shit.
So let's get it going.
All right,
Hey,
You
with
want
the
to do the
audio
countdown?
waves in the background.
yeah, go ahead
Yeah,
and do the
that's what I'm going
countdown,
with.
bro.
Huh? Three,
Do the
two,
countdown.
one.
It's your boy Matt,
It's your boy Gio, and we the
and we
dads
the
of the
dads
day.
of the day. Oh,
Oh
woo!
yeah. Yeah, hey, that was on, that was off, that was good.
That sounded a lot better than usual.
Yeah, we're getting our grip on this, man. We're figuring it
Yeah,
out. But
sure.
for those who are watching, no surprise. For those who are listening, we got ourselves a special guest. This one is almost like maybe
Yeah, you ready?
10, 12 years, baby. Like we've known this dude.
Oh, we know this dude for a long time.
Yeah, man. Introduce yourself, please, sir.
Tell him who you
Who are
are.
Well,
you?
well, hello, audience of the Dale. My name is Alexander Starr,
Father
and
Daniel.
I'm a good friend of Gio and Matt. And we'll
Yeah,
build
man.
from
Singer, songwriter,
What?
mentor, Emmy
Nah, hold
nominated,
on, hold on.
Grammy
I'm a writer,
nominated.
not a rapper. Don't be calling me that.
Calling me that. Hey.
Bro, I'm
Matter of
supposed to be
All
fact, the
dropping
right.
only
them
reason
all
why I
months
bother to
ago.
rap is so my voice
Yeah,
warms
Yeah.
up. I'm jogging
I'm
a lap.
jogging a lap.
La la la
Yeah.
la.
La, la, la. So I was
My
thinking about
dude.
opening up this episode with like one of your songs instead of our current intro. We'll
Bro,
see
that'd
how
be
that
lit.
looks. I'll figure out which one it is. Uh, but yeah, so we got our boy Star on here. I said Emmy, but that's TV. I meant to say Grammy nominated, which is
No,
also
no,
really dope.
it was Emmy nominated.
It was Emmy nominated, not Grammy
Emmy
nominated.
nominated. Not yet
Emmy
Grammy.
nominated, huh? No, it's Grammy.
No, it's Emmy for now. Until it's Grammy and Emmy winning. Right now it's Emmy nominated.
Got you. I see. I said okay. So unofficial sponsor, Chester's Hot Fries and my Sangrilla.
Bruh,
We're ready to
I ain't got no
go.
snacks. I already ate all my snacks with my kids. I snacked on
Mm.
some goldfish,
You
some
ain't bring
homemade
enough for the class, man.
He ain't bringing. I didn't bring enough to share. I mean, I got enough to share, but
Oh,
y'all,
just I ain't
hey,
bringing none
keep
of
it
it.
at a distance of 6 feet.
Right.
I'll throw the chips in your mouth if you want.
Nah,
Quarantine.
I'm good.
Pause.
Pause. What does that
Pause.
mean? It's been a thing lately, man. Like, what is that?
No, that's been around for a little bit. It's like
That was a Dipset. That was Cameron them who came up
yeah,
with
like
that.
Really?
pause.
Oh,
Like
okay.
yeah. I
I
was
never
listening
got
to
into
your
that
song
kind
today,
of shit.
Star. And let me go by the title because I don't know if we're gonna release any lyrics yet. But the one that you just sent me a mix on that I didn't get a chance to listen to, the one that I really like. Are we
Complicated.
allowed? Complicated. All right. Are we allowed to quote any lyrics or anything?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. So like, there's a part I
But
was
they
at the
quote
park.
everything.
There's a
They
there's a yeah. Boy, listen. I'm at a high level of thought, like a giraffe that can read. So
Hey.
so I was
bro.
at the park next to my house. I'm calling it a park now, but it's really a golf course. But now that everything's been abandoned, it actually looks like it can be Central Park, like New York City. Like you just got to put some benches in there, some playgrounds, and this place is dope. And I was sitting there in my head, doing whatever. And every time, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's culture or because of Edgar Allan Poe. But when I hear a crow, I either tense up or I'm very visual with it. Like I'm analyzing it. And so there was crows flying as well as parakeets. And if you guys have been following me on any of my social media, specifically on Instagram, like I've been having these family of parakeets specifically outside my window, like perched on my window, out front my door. Like it's been really beautiful. So I saw them and I saw the crows, and in my mind, I tried to get your song on and record it at the same time because it was creepy because it was at this nice top of the tree and the crow was just standing there looking at me. And I wanted to go pull it out and record with the song and say, "Back when I was poor, I heard a crow say nevermore." Bro, I wanted so bad. Bro, that's got to be one of the dopest lines. And I don't know when you plan on
Hey,
releasing that song, but that song, you got to release it soon, dog.
appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
So just a caveat, you can't say poor, you have to say po, or
Poe,
else the line
Poe.
doesn't work.
Exactly. Right.
It is
Bro,
wild. Everywhere I go, there's predators. Back when I was po, I swear I heard a crow say nevermore.
Nevermore. Hey!
never
For
move.
those who don't
Hey,
know the reference, Edgar Allan Poe and the Crow, Nevermore, Nevermore, and it's a whole thing.
Nevermore.
Nevermore,
nevermore. Yeah, the Simpsons. You talk about Bart.
Nevermore.
Nevermore.
I
Hey,
always feel like when
but
I
you,
see a
hey,
crow, they gonna poke my eyes out, man.
Yeah, yeah.
hey, but G, you got the tie-in with the following line too, right?
Raven. Yeah.
Yeah.
Raven.
All
I'm
right, cool.
Raven on tour. Yeah, no, I totally got
Raving
it.
at the love I get from
Yeah,
y'all
yeah,
on
yeah.
every.
I got
Yeah,
that, bro. Because like I told you, like I played with that similar wordplay because just who knows literature doesn't appreciate Edgar Allan Poe, and it's a very potent line that you can use.
Oh
Come on,
Lord.
let's go, Dad. Yes, Lord. Yes,
edit that
Lord.
out.
Let's go.
Nope. Ain't no editing around here, dog. We
No,
go
we don't
straight.
edit nothing, bro. It's all raw.
We
bro.
go straight
all
through, bro.
Raw. This is
All right.
marriage.
Hey.
Raw.
I feel like
I
we
didn't
should give people a heads up. Because we don't be telling them until it's like halfway through.
No,
By the way,
him.
dog.
I told him.
No,
Oh,
he
yeah.
told me already. He told me already.
You know, it is what it is. Nevermore.
So,
So Star, man, let's get into this, man. Because we know you. We have the privilege of knowing you, man. And like I said, singer, songwriter. You've accomplished so much. You performed at the UN. United Nations. Terry Crews was there. Like you and I got a chance to do some dope videos. Morocco was probably like the highlight of our career together. Morocco. Tell your mama you ain't coming home tonight. Hey. Bro, that song is so fire. Anyways, Morocco, man, like, and that story, we can probably talk about that story about how we got like an entire mansion converted to a hotel to ourselves. Food, location, everything. Like all this stuff that should not have happened. It's been a pretty interesting story.
Says who?
Right. What right? Says who? Right.
Star, like, I knew exactly what's going on, bruh.
Yeah. So I think, and that's just what I can attest to when we have, been running at the same time. You have your own stories, right? So like, first and foremost, man, tell the people, man, how did you get into music? Your affinity with music comes from where?
Whoops, what did I do?
I don't know.
I think I just
You're
messed the screen up. I'm
We
still
still
good?
see you,
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we see you.
All right. So my affinity for music while I'm effing with this Skype call, I think it just kind of came from the fact that my dad is a musician, but he's a classical musician. He's a concert pianist. So growing up, like I just always had music in the house. Like my dad, we playing concerts in the living room. So like, I grew up with
A screw up. Got
piano.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I saw same thing went through my mind. I grew up, but screw up.
Screw up. Got introduced to the game.
Sorry.
Started singing and blew up. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right. Grew up.
But aside from that, I think, I could have become a classical pianist, like a classical musician, but like I had the music, but I think what I'm learning now, what you're gifted at, your kids are gifted at too, but they rebel and not do it like you. Like at least that's what I'm going through. That's what I did with my dad. My dad tried to sit me down and teach me piano when I was like 5, and it was like Mr. Miyagi teaching the Karate Kid. Like I was like, all right. He was like, son, you ready? I'm like, yeah, let's do this. He was like, okay, son, today I teach you how to sit. I'm like, what? What? How to sit? I'm like, no, I want to play. He was like, no, bend your knuckles, flex the metatarsals. I'm like, all right, Dad, I'm going to play basketball, man. I'll see you later.
I'm going to flex my muscles off some ball.
So literally, like, I got the music gift, and like didn't want to go that path, and it kind of just manifested in words, bro. Like I always loved words, bro. I always loved rap, like hip hop, like growing up, and ever since I was a kid, bro, I've been writing rhymes since 2nd grade, man. I used to do that shit in like show and tell, bro. I wouldn't talk about my toy, I would rhyme about my toy, whatever I brought. So it will always just like entertain me, and it's one of those things where
is hearing that now, I'm like, oh, that's cool. But hearing that, knowing you and knowing what you looked like in 2nd grade, this chubby boy. Because I hear STARZ rapping in 2nd grade. I'm like, oh, that must have been so cool. But then you look at his picture in 2nd grade. STAR didn't look so
until tomorrow.
That was 3rd grade, sir. You talking about the one with the mohawk and the asthma pump around my neck?
It don't even matter, bro. I seen all the pictures.
That was 3rd grade. That was the evolution.
Oops, I'm out.
But here's the thing about it though, and this is what's important for like up and coming artists to know, is that like, yo, just because you rap don't mean you got to be on some gangster shit. It don't mean you got to be like being what you see other rap being, bro. Rap just simply means you're using language to entertain yourself. Yeah, so like,
it means that you have
your reality to entertain yourself, like you're authentic. I was an authentic second grade kid, mixed kid from Martin, Tennessee, rhyming about shit that made me smile. That made me dope.
Right.
And to today, that still makes me dope. I'm not out here trapping. I'm not out here, rapping about all this shit that everybody else thinks you have to rap about to get a hit record. I'm putting words together that entertains me. And if it entertains me, there's somebody else out there that resonates with what entertains me. And that's what hip hop is, man.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're not doing it for you, then it's you're selling out, because like you said, everybody has their gift, and now they're supposed to, the way I view it is like any creative, I'm beginning to really believe this, man. And I'd love to explore this on another series, but the idea that, like, I think of like poets and songwriters, and then I think about like, oh, we're seeing your settings, bro. We're seeing we're seeing your
there we go.
Navigation system.
Yeah. So
hey, get up on my screen, dog. I'm watching me.
You're the one who did it. You're the one who did it. I'm just looking at what you give me. Just looking at what you give me. But
I'm trying to get my screen back. All right, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
That poets and creatives are pretty much unknowingly prophets of their day, right? And the only way to use your gift properly is to be a conduit, to be a prism, taking in all this pure light and then shifting it and breaking it down for people. And so if you're not being authentic with what you have and with what you're viewing and the message that you're saying, really you're an empty vessel, man. Like, you're just doing what everybody else is doing, and you forfeit the impact that you can have. So and that's obviously, for those who don't know, that's basically your message, right? Star, like that you can be authentic to who you are, do what you want to do, and still find a crowd that needs to hear it. And you're not sacrificing your skill set or what you want to say for the sake of an ooh or an ah.
Right, exactly. I mean, look at it this way. Reality is a light beam. An artist is a prism. The beam of light goes through the prism, and then the artist, who is the prism, shines out these different colors in a way that only that prism can do.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, but the where it becomes potent or non-potent is, key words, what I said is, reality is the beam of light that goes through you, the prism. Most artists that are on the come up and mimicking, they don't use reality as the beam of light. They use other people's art as the beam of light, which is not a pure beam of light. They take something that's already an interpretation of reality, and they try and interpret that into their reality, but it doesn't work because that wasn't pure reality. It wasn't a pure beam of light that you're interpreting through your prism. That shit was nerdy as hell. I'm sorry, guys.
No,
it's all good, bro. That's it. You're a writer, bro.
I wrote a poem saying those exact things, bro. You speaking to my heart, bro. I agree 110%.
So let me ask you, bro. So with that, right? So you mentioned your dad was trying to teach you to be classical. You fell in love with words. How did that become a thing? Like you said, you fell in love with rap, but you use that line. I love that line. I'm a writer, not a rapper. Don't be calling me that, right? So like, how did you kind of come up to that and find that position where you're like, I don't just rap, I write. You know what I mean? Like, what does that mean to you, and how did you come up with that as for yourself?
Well, man, that's an excellent question, and I think there's a lot of different roads that led to that, but it all comes down to how seriously you take your art, right? Mm-hmm. Because rapping is a thing that like anybody can rap. I hear people who just like speak, and conversationally they have rhythm in their words. They not rappers, but like that's why you can sample something. You can sample a person's conversation, loop it in a beat, and make it sound good, because anybody can rap. Yeah, right? Sure. Anybody can rap, but can you actually craft your thoughts with design, with a specific design in mind? And in this generation, like, there's a lot of rappers, right? More so now than ever, because you don't need a studio. You can do it on your laptop. You can create an album from your crib and win awards for it, right? Shit, that's what I'm doing. Right. However, like, there's a huge culture of freestyle records, meaning like they just go in the booth, freestyle the first thing that comes to their head. It's not necessarily well thought out, but it sounds good because
it's clever.
It's easy to mimic a rhythm. It's easy to come up with a that's easy to do, and it's easy to fill in those blanks when you have that cut out rhythm to fill in. So you're filling it in. There's just not a lot of substance in it. So, you know, anybody can rap. Everybody raps, but who actually makes statements? You know what I mean?
So then,
I think that's
with that, then, what's your process like? You know what I mean? Like, anybody can do that, and I agree. You know what I mean? I've had situations where I'm like, let me try this rap out right quick. I'm terrible at it. You know what I mean? I'm like, this ain't for me, bro. I'm gonna just stick to freestyling because it works better that way. Trying to craft something and articulate a story in song form for me is difficult. It's complicated. So what's your process like? You know what I mean? Like, do you write down stuff on notepads as it comes to you? Do you do you just have an idea of a song that you want to write and then, you know what I mean? Like, what's your process like?
all the above. What I've learned is that good thoughts that actually trigger a reaction, like, are fleeting. They're hard to come by. So I do a lot of note taking. Whenever I'm in a conversation with somebody and something clever is said, like, I'll write that shit down, because if I don't, I might not remember it. Clever things are gems, right? You collect. I have in my notes app, I have a folder called C, and AKA gems. And like, when I think of something clever, a one-liner, a two-liner, whatever, like, I write it down. And then later on, when a producer sends me an instrumental, or, when I'm back into writing mode, I can go look at my folder filled with seeds that I've collected throughout the time. And then now I can pour mental water and sunlight on these seeds and grow them into something bigger than what they were. Right? So there's a lot of note taking. Sometimes, like, again, good ideas drop out of the sky sometimes.
Sometimes
So,
it's
like,
you
all the
being
time.
like, what do you hear? Gio, what do you hear? This is what I hear. I give you a rhythm, I give you an idea, and you run with that into a whole nother level.
Oh yeah, dude. One of my gifts is interpretations. Like, I can take an idea, like, again, it's a seed, and then just grow with the interpretation. That's probably my writing process. Is interpretation. Is taking a really, really, really rough cut lump of stone idea and polishing it into a gem. Like, that's what I'm good at.
I was impressed when you did that with the song "When I'm Gone." Will they love me when I'm gone? Like,
Oh,
love
that's
me
long.
when I'm gone.
When you did
Because that
that
was a
with that, it was like,
conversation that we had.
yeah, it was a freestyle session in the car. Because every now and then, Star likes to hit me with and it always follows as it goes. It always goes as follows. Hey, did I let you hear that track? No. He'll always ask me, "Are you sure? Did I let you?" No, because you don't share stuff with me unless you
I'm
do
getting
this.
better with that, though.
Yeah, and then he's like, I told you about that song, right? I'm like, no. And then so we'll start there, and I'm like, of course I like it. I like, we'll go through the certain, like, first 10 that he's working on that he hasn't shared. I'm like, all right, this is dope, and we'll do that process for a little bit, and then we'll just start freestyling. And then he'll be like, bro, I really like this beat. I've been thinking, what do you hear? And usually that is how it happens. So then with the "When I'm Gone" song, I just remember repeating, will they love me when I'm here? They're gonna love me when I'm gone. Like, I just remember that we were doing that and we started freestyling, and then we left it alone. That was the first time I encountered that with you. So that when you went back and you actually came back with that song, I was like, yeah, that bad boy evolved.
Be like I'm ready to fly.
Right.
I didn't ask myself this, what am I leaving behind? Will they love me when I'm gone? Will they love me when I'm gone?
Yeah.
Hey,
So
I gotta start bringing y'all on stage with me, yo.
Yeah. Hey,
come on, baby.
We did that a lot in Morocco, and I think that's really neat because most artists, speaking from an artistic perspective, especially in film or in music, it's you don't find most artists who are good at what they do inviting other people into their process. They're like, this is my sanctuary. Whereas the creative process for you is as much a solitary thing as it is an inclusive one.
Interesting. Please elaborate.
So I would say that you have your method. You like, I can relate to the idea that I'm a student of life. So I'm looking and I'm taking in all this information, sensory overload, and ideas are being planted. Every now and then I'll write something, and then one line becomes a dope concept for an entire song. I understand that. But then there are very few people that I'm like, hey, I'm working on this. What do you think? While it's still an embryo. Or or what I really like this beat, but I can't figure out how to nail what's on it. Gia, what do you hear? Like, you have moments where there are solitaire things that just happen that are part of your process. That's just your natural in your thoughts. And then there's other parts where you have no problem creating songs and straight up taking a rhythm, a melody, or even lyrics that you've heard, and then building that because you started it off with what do you hear, right? And I can always tell you what I hear, and then and this is just speaking from, I can't tell you that you've done this with other people. I'm only speaking from our perspective because this has been the foundation of our relationship from the beginning. Like, we met, for the listeners who are listening, we had a mutual friend named Elizabeth, and she had been telling him and me the same thing on different occasions. I have this friend that you remind me of so much. You guys walk around with your headphones, you have braids, you're always rapping, da 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 da.
Had the long hair, don't
I had long hair at the time, and I was like, yo, no way. Like, we both responded the same way. There's only one me. We saw each other first time, and it was kind of like that arrogant meeting of each other across the room. And then we hung out for the first time in his Ford Focus. It was a Ford, I believe. No, it was a
Impala.
Impala. There.
Oh, dang! I thought you had a Fusion or something.
We were in the Impala outside the pizza shop. We threw on beats and we started going back and forth for each other. And that mutual respect there has always been our creative process, our relationship. So I've been privy to
our college days, boy.
Yeah, and so I'm privy to the idea that if that's me, there are other creatives that you respect and love that you invite into your process. So it's part solitaire, but it's also part inclusive. That's what I kind of mean by it.
That's really interesting, man, because for a long time, like I'm discovering newness about me and my writing style, like every single day. And for a long time, like I did want to do everything myself. Like, you're right, I do have a lot of, like, I'll hold on to something until I'm ready to share it. If I have a verse I'm writing and people be like, yo, what you got so far? If I'm not impressed by it, I'm not even sharing it with you. Because, you know, I look at it like a sprout, right? I look at my my rhymes and my thought concepts as sprouts. If I have like a little flower pot with a little sprout coming up like that, right? Unless you're an expert, you don't know if that's the sprout of a weed or of an oak tree. You won't know, right? So I don't share my sprouts because somebody might chop that sprout down, not knowing that if I apply what it could be.
Right.
So most of the time, like, I don't let people in on my process. However, there is huge value in collaboration because at the same time, I don't have all the good ideas, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you want your music to be felt by other people. And if you let other people in on the process, then there's more chance that other people feel your record. And it's not just purely of your energy. When music is of your energy and someone else's energy, like, it makes it, you know, more universally energetic. And that's why if you look at songwriting credits of a lot of the songs these days, man, they'll put credits of people who were in the room.
Right.
Like, even if you change one word, if you suggested, yo, what if you went woo right there? Yeah, boom, put that in. You put them on the songwriter's credits because their energy contributed to it. And that person,
isn't there and this is not to rebuttal it because I agree 110%. Like, there are people that you trust to invite in that process. You don't just invite everybody in that process.
Right.
And part of the frustration for me before I ask the question with you is that you do invite me in, but then I'm frustrated because then you show me the song 4 remakes later and I'm like, dude, I got used to what you sent me first. Like, I don't like this new version.
Well,
I don't like this
finalized. So here's the thing. No, that's what you call demo-itis. You fall in love with the first version that you heard.
You know what, man?
Without
Sometimes
knowing that,
it's good.
Dude, because here's the thing, right? And this, you can appreciate this if you apply it to film in the way that I do music, right?
Sure.
Like, you're an expert in all of the intricacies of film, right? Anybody can go to the movies and watch whether that was a well-done movie or not, right? But you know the intricacies of the cut scene, of the every little thing. I know the intricacies that other people who know the intricacies are going to critique.
Yeah.
Right? So when I share something with you, if it's a rough version or if it's like the first take or whatever, I'm sharing you the version before I'm showing you the body of the car before I apply the wheels.
But
Before
see,
I
in our
painted.
conversation the other day, what ended up happening was it was like you were like, "So what do you think?" And I responded to you with those exact words. I was like, "Dude, I'm not an expert in the sounds. I'm listening for the wordplay and how you delivered the wordplay of something. Like that's where I stopped because I can sing in my head, but I'm not trained. So
Right.
I,
But then,
you know,
yeah,
like
and I know, and I understand that. I'm simply addressing the point that you say, like, yo, I send you updated versions. See, a
hey
lot of the
man, you
times
do,
those
man. You do
updated
a lot of
versions,
updated versions, bro. Like you do a lot. And there are
oh yeah,
times where the updated version, I'm like, this is dope. But then there's other times where I'm like, you know, man, I'm a man of simplicity. I like this original version, dude. But my question for
that's
you,
what
back
art
to
is
the point,
about.
yeah, the question that I had for you is, where do you find that fine line though? And when you invite people in the process, at what point do you say, I hear what you're saying and I need to be humble, but then there's also anything
But
beyond
this
just
about to be the
sacrificing
best
my
record of
ego.
all time.
Right.
You go with your gut.
Okay.
That's all you really got as an artist is your gut. That's what makes you
Your
create in the
intuition.
first place.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Like I could take opinions. I've had A&Rs with heavy with high positions in labels and shit hear my music and give critiques that I don't agree with. And if I don't agree with it, I don't fuck what position you hold, right? Like, no, I don't like it that way. I like it this way. But I've also been in similar situations where I had that idea about a song and I was given a suggestion for how to do my idea better. And when they showed me, I was like, oh shit, yeah, you got a point. That's dope.
Yeah.
For me,
Proof is in the
it's
pudding.
all about valuable
Yeah.
contribution. Don't just critique something. Don't tell somebody that it's not good enough. Show them how to make it better.
Better.
Then
Right.
your
Yeah.
critique becomes
Yeah.
valuable. That's
Right.
my biggest thing. Like, and don't be vague with making it like hands on. Make that shit better in
Yeah.
their presence, and they will learn that lesson. If you don't, that's like me like trying to show somebody a math problem, telling them how to do it, but not actually doing it for them to see me do it. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like I'm a like give me an example learner.
Yeah.
That's how I.
Hands on.
So and for me with collaboration, it's that too. Like if you're gonna give an idea, polish that idea where I understand your process of polishing, so that I can apply that to mine.
Right.
And if
Yeah.
you can't do that, it's a 50-50 whether I'm gonna understand your suggestion or just kind of take it in my own way. So
Right. And
I know that was
sometimes
a really
people like
long
that
way
are
of
just
answering your question, but I hope I
no.
did.
It's a good. No. No. It's a good
No, it
answer.
makes sense though.
Ultimately,
Makes sense.
yeah. Ultimately, the point is, I know whether or not your opinion is valuable critique or if it's just you low key underhandedly hating right now and you want me to change what can be a classic. And you'll know by, you know what I'm saying? Like some people will sabotage. They'll be like,
Yeah,
nah, or they might be hating because they don't like how you say it, right? Like the list of reasons is endless, bro. But
absolutely.
ultimately, I
It all
get what you
depends on the
mean.
person. It all
Yeah,
depends on
yeah,
the person and the relationship of a person. Because you could even give me a suggestion, and if I don't like it, I'll say, I don't think that's strong enough. See, for
right,
me, it's all about strong enough. If
yeah,
and I alluded to it earlier, it's about does your body react to something? Sometimes you'll be thinking about a line. If you ever have sat in a room with rappers writing raps together, right? If you've ever been in a room with your homeboys and y'all are all writing to a beat, everyone's writing, right? You know some shit is cooking when somebody goes,
ooh, ooh, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Everybody's silent, but if you hear somebody go, whoo, then you know something
Yeah,
just
it's
impressed
got to be
them,
felt.
right?
Yeah.
I need to feel that with damn near every line, or
Mm-hmm.
it's not good enough for me. It's
Mm-hmm.
got to make me go woo in some way. And if it doesn't, if it's not like a punchline that's just like make somebody like react or laugh, then it's setting up that level of a
Set it
line.
next.
Yeah.
We're throwing alley oops to each other, right? If it's not that, if there's not a specific design that leads to the next, then for me it's not strong enough.
So I'm a writer, not a rapper. Don't be calling me that, right? I rap to warm up my voice. I'm just jogging the lap, all that stuff. But you're a singer too.
La,
At
la,
what
la,
point did
la.
you know you could sing?
Um, well, full transparency, I don't consider myself a singer.
Right, but you sing.
I consider myself a
Oh,
ringer.
ringer.
The
Right, a
blend,
ringer.
rap, sing, ring,
Right, right.
because I won't go into church and call myself a singer. I'll get sung under the table. You know what I'm saying? I don't have that. Like, I don't do all of that. I simply can resonate my voice at a tone that matches with whatever instrumental I'm on. And I guess some people will call that a singer. I'm just being OCD. Like, yes, I can resonate my voice on key, but okay, fuck it, I'm a singer.
Most people can't. You're a singer. You can hold a note, bro. Like that. A fancy way of saying, survey says, singer. So at what point did you know you could resonate and do that?
Oh shit! Well,
because Matt has an interesting story about when he knew he can do bass, which I love his story. So I want to hear from your perspective, like how similar that is, or it's not for a singer.
Because I've always wanted to be a singer, right? Like I've always wanted to be one, so I always attempted to be one, right? Almost like, I don't know if y'all watch Naruto or not, but
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
To be Hokage, that is my dream, right? And he would always get his ass whooped, but always come back stronger. Always come back stronger with a new jutsu, with a new whatever, and eventually he bossed up. And that's how I always was. I've always wanted to be Hokage. I've always wanted to be a singer. Like, dude, one of my goals, 7th grade, I dyed my hair blonde because I wanted to be in Drew Hill.
Oh my God.
Facts.
I never knew that.
But, and you will never see the picture, but it wasn't even blonde because I asked my mom to dye it, and she didn't do it right, so it was orange and blonde speckles and splotches.
Oh, Tiger
it was bad.
Dragon.
But I say that to say, yo, that's one of the best albums ever, bro. Listen, I love Drew Hill. I wanted to be like the 5th member of Drew Hill when I was in like middle school. Like, I always wanted to sing, so I would always sing along with their records and try and match the notes. And eventually, I realized I can keep up with some of what they're doing. And that's kind of
being classically trained with music. Do you think went to that, or do you think it was natural?
I think it was just natural. And my mom being a hippie, so like I get the no fact. I feel like I'm that middle ground. My dad is a distinguished, well-spoken classical musician, African American, and my mom is a white Jewish hippie from Brooklyn.
Yes, I love it.
I'm somewhere in between. So, you know what I'm saying? I got the understanding of music, but I also have the we live how we live, and it is gonna be what it is gonna be side of it. So, like, I'm in the middle.
I do as I please.
I do as I please. Exactly. Big up Grammy Whammy.
Man.
Whammy.
So when it comes to like singing, bro, like I just kind of did it, and I followed what I wanted, and I just would emulate their songs. I would literally, if you turn on a 90s R&B song, I know not only the lead vocals and the chorus harmonies and stuff, I know the ad-libs. I know all of the little riffs and runs that they did not on the lead take. Like, I know all of that shit because I wanted to learn all of that.
Off the top of your head, which one's your favorite? Go.
Which one is my favorite? What? Be more specific.
No. Like the one that you love to sing all the time. Like, I'm not trying to be more specific. I'm just trying to see what comes 90s R&B. When Star thinks about it, that he just goes straight, I'm gonna sing this one. Which one comes to your mind in this moment?
Well, it's been a long time since I wanted to outright sing one because I'm always writing new shit. That kind of taken over my whole creative side of my brain. Is I'm always writing as opposed to listening. But when you talk 90s R&B, I'm talking Drew Hill, I'm talking Silk, I'm talking Boys to Men, I'm talking As Yet, I'm talking One.
Wow.
I was inside of you.
Bro, do you know that as kids we did not know what the hell we were singing?
At all. Then that shit was so
I saw the sun,
the
moon, the heavens,
the mountains and the mountains makes we love you.
This is gonna be the worst part of the podcast
because we're all singing at the same time.
We all singing over each other.
If I could sing any song with justice and better, it would be Tevin Campbell's "Can We Talk."
Tevin Campbell's monster.
So okay, so now obviously,
and this is the reason why I don't call myself a singer, because I know what people out there can do.
Yeah, but that
You know
just
what I'm
means
saying?
you're in a category of singing, right? Because even the people who can do what they can do can't do what other singers can do, right?
Okay,
There are
you know
people,
what? You're right. You're right.
right? Not everybody's Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey, but you still have, Carrie Underwoods or, Jennifer Hudson. Like, like everybody different.
Right. But you know what
Right.
though? Another part of this that's interesting is I think part of why I'm answering that way as well is because
I'm
for some reason
complicated.
that too, but for some reason the world sees me as a rapper too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give
Yeah.
you examples. I'll give you examples. When I could do a show, I could do a whole 30-minute show, 45-minute show where I straight up like am doing melodic songs, like straight melodic songs. This is my era, freaking. That's what I do best. Like whatever, just melodic songs. And then somebody who was there could introduce me to somebody next time they tell me, "Oh, this is Alexander Starr. He's a really good rapper." Like
I think
no
there's a
matter what I
psychology
do,
behind that. I think it's
they
because you're a
call me a
black
rapper.
kid.
Did you not
Yeah,
just hear what I said?
yeah. So, okay.
Yeah, but
All the
But there
time
are
is
Wow.
black
rap, though.
singers, right?
Right,
Like,
but I mean,
just when people see me, they categorize me as a rapper, which is why I'm in
because you
the hip hop
sing,
project. Fine with that.
because you sing, I think I know why they do. You sing and then you sing your songs and then you have that verse and it's like the da 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 and then the and then you go back to singing. They're like, oh, that was like the crescendo. That was a third act. Like the rap was a third act of his whole singing song, right? Like it's the exclamation point or the comma before the main sentence. Like it's like this portion of the song solidifies everything. All your songs that have singing and rapping, if you take the rapping portion out, the song is not as strong. The song is solidified by that one rapping portion.
I think I agree with that. And to be
Yeah.
honest, bro, like I mentioned in my recent post, bro, I just been running
That's
from
why
the
you do it.
I've been running from the whole association with rap because of the connotation that comes with it. And yeah, it's no
You can
point in
change
that
the
because
connotation.
I can change the connotation, and that had been, I honestly wanted, I put out mainly pop records and like world records because I wanted to go out into the world, not on a rap platform. The
I need more rap
platforms
from
that
you, bro.
come with, no, listen, the platforms that come with rap, and I mean like the type of venues you can get booked at, the type of like the level of clubs, the level of I don't know, just different platforms. It's really hard for me to describe, but like
No,
the
I hear you.
company,
I hear
right?
you. The venues
Basically,
and
the
what you get
company
booked.
that is kept in the rap world, right, is of a different caliber than the company that is kept of the pop world or the world
Right.
music world or whatever. Like just the levels of platforms as you go up in the game,
Yeah.
right? And I just like, yo, a lot of the content that's out there with rap, man, I just don't associate with it. Or if you put
I
me
agree.
on a rap lineup, right? Of just let's talk about just the straight up and comers level, right? The straight up and comers level. I'll do rap open mics or whatever, and literally 98% is just straight ratchet shit. So I'm like, yo, I don't even want to share this platform. I don't want to share that stage, bro. Like I'm gonna write
Yeah.
music from a
But you
different
know what?
lens
You know
amongst
what though?
artists that I can actually like
But
vouch
I
that
would
I want to,
challenge you.
you know.
I would challenge you metaphorically to eat with tax collectors and sinners because it is people like you who give the people in that crowd who are there just because they love the art, but who are quiet or who are thinking about going in that art and figuring out a way to sacrifice their natural skill set, that when they hear people like you, they hear people like Toby, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
like I love
It took
Toby
me a
because
long time to get to that
like
thought process.
you give them permission. Like for me, like I was very unique and eccentric in my rapping style, and I was insecure. Then I heard Toby, and then I was like, right, he
With it.
writes for himself. And I like to write for myself. I never write for an audience. Every now and then I'm like, oh, they're gonna like that. But I always write for me. And that's what makes me authentic to me. And I was afraid to do that because I'm like, people want to hear this. They want to hear the punchlines. They want to hear the wah wah wah. And so, and then I can play a little bit, but then I draw the line at a certain point. And so ultimately, instead of playing, I just back out. But it's certain people that give you permission to and remind you to, like that saying goes, when you shine your light, you unconsciously give other people permission to shine their light. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And again, it took me a while to kind of I had to climb levels that were acceptable to me before I
Tell us
was
that, though. We want to hear about that.
re-own what I naturally do, which is rap.
So let's talk about that, right? Because you're all these things, but you're also a dad, and we're gonna get to that at some point, obviously, right? Like that might.
I'm waiting to ask this question. I got a question for him as far as a fatherhood, but y'all boys keep.
I'm sorry. So I'll let you ask your question because I wanted to hear your story about how you were in the free agents in this rap group and how you work your evolution. But before we get there, let's go back and forth. Matt, ask your question, man.
My bad. I got a bad connection over here, so I had to turn off my Wi-Fi. I hope that doesn't affect the video overall. But that, I've been in and out. So y'all been having a great conversation, but I've lost connection like twice already. So, anyways, right. So the question that's kind of been lingering for me, Star, is as far as like you being a dad. You mentioned when your dad was teaching you that you're going through something similar now. Like kids have the talent that their parents have, but they rebel. What is that for you and for your son? You know, because I've seen videos where he's singing your raps, which I think is like one of the dopest things as a dad to be able to have a son knows your songs. You know what I mean, and sings them with you. So, but what is it like that you're going through now as a dad? And then, you know, share. I mean, how old is your son? All that fun stuff. You know what I mean? Like, who is your boy?
Yeah. So my son Zion Maximus he'll be 9 in June.
Wowzers, that boy grown.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. And you know, I guess I was alluding to his gifts, man. His vocals are so gorgeous. He can sing, he can rap, he can freestyle, he can do all that shit when I'm not asking him to do it. You know what I'm saying? If I ask him to do it, like he has no interest in. He's not interested in impressing me, and he's not interested in me giving him tutelage on how to improve the gift of his voice and the gift of his writing.
Were you that way
that
with your
shit
dad?
Is frustrating, bro.
Were you that way with your dad?
That's what I'm good at.
Right. Sorry, were you that way with your dad? When you alluded to earlier, you like kind of like being like, all right, dad, like, right? Like you were interested in him teaching you, but when you realized he was going to teach you with what he knew, you were like, 100%. So my question is going through what you've gone through with your dad, looking back and now repeating that with your son, how do you take from what you learned and say, okay, knowing what I felt, here's how I can bend the curve a little bit or cut through the field a little bit and make the situation better than if I try to unknowingly repeat what my dad did with me?
Well, I'm trying.
Okay.
And it's not easy. I'm trying and it's not easy. I'm not going to come on here fronting like I know how to parent. Like, right. I know how to interpret the world for myself, and I'm attempting to interpret the world for my son so he understands it. Right. It just so happens that sometimes the language that I use, he won't show me that he understands it. And I feel like it's the same thing that my dad went through, but like, yo, I didn't appreciate my dad until I was an adult. And then I realized how many gems he was dropping. But yo, that's every generation of humankind. It's kind of like that. Like, that's how that shit is. Like, I realized regardless of how cool we are amongst us, like our kids gonna reach a point where we just embarrass them with everything that we do. I'm like, what? We the coolest. You don't know nobody cooler than me.
Swagged up. Right.
Boy, you feel me?
The simple fact that we would say this is an embarrassment to our kids. Like, that's just how it goes. The simple fact that we consider ourselves cool is embarrassing to them. And that's just how it's gonna go, dog. And so anyways, yo, my son frustrates the shit out of me, bro. That's why I'm in the car right now. I don't want to do this interview from inside the house because I'm frustrated.
Let's get to the beat.
Let's get to the deep. Let's get to the real. Let's talk about it,
bro. Let me ask you, bro. So then I guess a good question to kind of follow that up, right, is how do we transition that, right? So we know that that's going to happen. We know that we're going to embarrass our kids, and we all got sons. And so we all know that we're going to be trying to strut around like, what's up, son? You know, we're going to try to do the good handshake. So we're going to try to do the daps. We know what it's like to be a teenager. Like, we all kind of play this in our head, you know, like those conversations. One day we want, when our kids are teenagers, that they feel like they can talk to us still and not distance themselves, because we've seen it happen with every generation. So again, we don't know the answer to that. None of the three of us do that, right? But what are your thoughts on like how do you prepare for that? For you, it's sooner rather than later, bro. Even your son is going to be a teenager in like 4 years, bro. So like, how do you, knowing that there's going to be a separation, prepare yourself for how you're going to handle a teenage son?
Man, bro, I was hoping y'all could tell me the answer to that question.
I have an idea. I legit have an idea.
So wait. So hold that. Like, my thing is, every day I kind of learn that it's just gonna happen. Yeah. Because I see it's already happening now. He doesn't like when I try and explain what he did wrong or could do better, like at all, even though it's affecting the people around him. My biggest thing with my son is like he leaps before he looks. And for me to like consistently, like, and if only he would look before he leaps, he would avoid so much trouble, so much, turbulence. And he doesn't care to hear me tell him that at all. And he continues to make the same mistakes. And that shit is frustrating, bro. And it's to the point where I make agreements with him for privileges. He wants a privilege. Okay, well, in order to do this, we are verbally contracting that you will do A, B, and C in order to get X, Y, and Z. And when you get X, Y, and Z, upon that privilege, you have this much time with it. And at the end of that, you return X, Y, and Z to me. And I make very clear distinctions on what this agreement is. And he breaches agreement. And then he gets upset when I hold him to the terms of the agreement.
Isn't that so symbolic?
On that boy.
Dude, so that's why I'm like, yo, I'm frustrated, bro. And then, I enforce the terms of breaching agreement, and then he gets saved by somebody else in the house. You get what I'm saying? Like, hold him to those terms.
It's interesting that you say that because that's so symbolic of our relationship with God. That's so symbolic of who we are as humans with God. And I think children I really do believe they serve that purpose. But I think you hit the nail on the head, bro. What they're going to go through is what they're going to go through. They're supposed to go through it. And I think the only way to answer your question, Matt, as you were talking, I was like, I don't know the answer. The only thing that kept ringing in my head was I have to honor their journey. I have to, they're going through what they're going through for the first time. I need to honor that and be a part of that and not be like when he messes up, which is my tendency to say, see, I told you. I told you not to do that, but you did it anyways. And didn't I tell you? And I think there's a time and place for that. But I think I need to honor his journey and realize that he's going to go through what I went through, and I can share in the similarities, but I can't share in the other 50% that's unknown because it's also his time zone, timeline, time and year, context, and all this other stuff that I didn't have to deal with when I was his age.
And that's very wise, bro. And I wish I could think like that at all times. And like,
I wish we all think that.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. And I act upon it when I can. When it becomes challenging is when you are the controller of resources.
Right.
You control the resources, and they want the resources, and you need something for them to get these resources, and they don't hold up to their end of the bargin.
You're
like
that's
when all of that shit goes out the door. That's when I start losing my. That's when I start losing my control of calmness. Is when the terms before us are not honored. That's when I start getting upset.
See, I have a question, Star. A follow up on what Matt asked. Is it possible, right? And I think at surface value, you'd be like, yeah, but like deeper, is it possible that leap before looking mentality, as challenging as it is, and as much as you are going to polish that, is it possible that you are also reteaching yourself how to also be more faithful and not second guess and sometimes take leaps when you're supposed to take a leap and not second guess yourself?
Nah.
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 I don't know what you're talking about.
Because I think there's something. I really think there's something annoying about that, but something profound about him being able to say, "I'm going to leap." I'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission.
Yes, it's a stretch. Though.
I hear you, but I don't know. Yeah. I don't know Zion. So it's conjecture.
Well, I mean, just in general, man, like a calculated leap.
Sure.
Like any leap has the potential of being a good leap, a neutral leap, or a bad leap. And leap as much as you want. as long as you like are not
Yeah.
gambling of whether it's a good one or a bad one.
I'm gonna push back a little bit and say I agree 95% with you, but I think there is 5% times where, or there are, I can't, maybe let me not say I know the percentage, but I think there's a percentage of the time where sometimes the leap can't be yours. It can't be yours to dictate. That's where it's in God's hand. That's where it's in the coach's hands.
But I think that there's certain situations that you can determine when to take that leap.
Sure,
That kind of,
sure.
you know what I mean?
Sure,
Like,
absolutely.
okay, which job am I gonna take? You know, I got a few offers on the table. I'm just gonna jump in, bro. You know, like you can calculate in a
Right.
sense, you know what I mean? But then it's like your
You don't
friends,
know.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the people that you choose to spend your time with, you can see that. You can see how this is gonna turn out sometimes based on how that person is from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
And as you
Yep.
guys interact, like in school, right? We're in school, we're in class, we're hanging out with people, and you can kind of tell, like, yeah, that guy might be a bad influence on me, but man, we are gravitated towards each other, and I want to be around him. So I feel like in a situation like that, it would make a lot of sense to say, okay,
Yeah.
should I spend time with this person? Okay, does a 14-year-old think like that? No. Do they have that kind of intellect to think that way? Probably not.
Not
I mean,
until
our
24.
men are right till 27 now or something like that. It's changing
Right.
every year. So, you know, I just became a man 5 years ago. You know what I mean? So, so I think there are situations where you can make that kind of a, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna jump in, bro, head first.
Yeah.
But it's tough
Right.
because when you watch your kids do it, it's like,
It's
here's the
different.
difference, right? We have that foresight. Like I know if you jump off that couch, you're gonna hurt yourself eventually. You may not do it now, but that saying, it's all fun and games till somebody gets hurt. I hate that saying because every time I think about it, I'm like, man, people used to tell me that all the time. And so I feel like there's situations when we watch our kids, it's like, that's not a good idea. And I wish I can tell you that's not a good idea and you would listen. Chances are you won't. So it's
You won't,
like,
and you just don't do it.
you
Some
do it.
people
And I
learn.
gotta be there for you when you mess up. And that's, I think, one of the hardest things about being a parent. And one of the things that I think our kids kind of appreciate the most as they get older. You know, like, man, I appreciate that. I know you
But
always did want to kind of help me and give me insights and stuff, but I really appreciate that you were there for me when I messed up too.
It's
I
funny
don't
you say
yeah,
that because in the decision of moving right now, that is Britt's biggest takeaway from her father. She's like, I know my dad wants me to move to Georgia. No doubt he wants his daughter back in Georgia, but he won't tell me that. And even if he tells me that, he's honoring letting us make the decision. He won't. And so when I bring that up to say, like, as an adult, a woman with family, 2 kids, she's thinking about how she appreciates her father saying, "I'm here, but the decision and I'm honoring your journey." Right? Like it's very important that you say that. But it's and like Star said, on paper that makes sense and we want to do that. But sometimes in practicality, it's hard for us to do
right
that because
when
we're
the hits
seeing
the
it.
fan.
Right.
I feel like this is kind of like, I experience these sort of parallels even as an adult, and I think it is the simplified version of parents and kids. But this exchange or lack of exchange also happens on experienced versus inexperienced. And that's
Sure.
what I really think it is, because as an adult, even as a professional, you can get advice from other professionals that you don't take until you get burned. And then
Right.
you listen to their advice. Like something simple with artists is, get a contract before you do anything or whatever. Like you can tell
Right.
people that as much as you want, but until they get screwed in a situation, they weren't actually willing to take the initiative to do the work to prepare
Yeah.
themselves
Yeah.
to not
Right.
get hurt that
I
time.
would say that's 100% true. I would also add that there are two people in this world. The kind of people that are shrewd, innocent yet shrewd, and who can think to themselves, "Yo, okay, thank you for that advice." And I mean, there's certain even kids like there are certain kids that you see with their parents. Their parents are like, da da da. And they're like, okay, and you're like, whoa. But then there are other kids who are like, you know what? You're the kind of kid that I can tell you not to run around the pool because it's wet, and I will tell you once, but you're only going to learn by busting your knee, and then you'll remember, you'll call back what I said, and then you'll gain the conviction because you had to figure it out yourself.
And that sucks because sometimes it don't work like that. Because I'm
Yeah, I
like,
know.
man, right now, for us with our younger kids, my 3-year-old don't get that. He jumps off the couch,
Exactly.
he hits his face, and he's crying. And I said, son, I told you not to do that.
He
I'm
doesn't.
here for you, I'm hugging you. 5 minutes later, my dude jumping on the couch again. I'm like, dude, I'm like, I wish I had carpet in this house, man. It's like tile makes me nervous.
Bro, but you know what? I'm just gonna encourage you with the fact that Dom is 5 and he's still doing that. Hey Dom, don't climb that tree with flip flops. I'm not gonna fall. You're gonna fall. You probably shouldn't climb with flip flops. 2 seconds later, and I look at, and then me being a jerk in the moment, I look at the friend that he's climbing with. I was like, didn't I just tell him? I told him, right? Like you heard me say it. And all right, stop being a jerk. Go, buddy. You can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, boy.
Like,
Sure.
yeah. So, Star, you still with us?
My dog on pause, bro.
Yeah, pause.
It's all good. Pause.
Pause. Pause like the hands of the animal. All right. So,
man. Anyways, dog. So I'm like, is Georgia thing or can we bring
Georgia,
it up now?
so it's looking. Yeah, we can bring it up. So we can bring.
Welcome back, brother.
Welcome back. Yeah. So really quick, we'll bring.
I'll
give you a quick answer and then I'll go back. Yeah, you know, you're good. In short, it's looking like, and I won't go into the details because the details will rob time. So we'll do that after the episode. But it's looking like Georgia is inevitable. And I have been very somber all day. And thinking about it, man, honestly, I just came back from Pat's, Rick and Trudy's. They gave me a ton of boxes. Nice. So we have to move one way or the other, but it looks like Georgia is inevitable. And if this virus is going to continue to, like in this situation, I heard from my private school where I went Monday, Friday, we had a meeting. We were all literally in a chair 6 feet away from each other. And then afterwards huddled and started talking.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I know. Bro, it's so challenging, but I have to I have to honor my daily bread. But right. But I was told that we're obviously not coming back the rest of the school year. But it's looking like teachers, we might not come back until be physical with the contact with the students until January.
Right.
So if that's my only source of income and that's an essential, what kind of job do I have to get? Like how many other jobs do I have to get to pick up from my other jobs that I had that were freelance? You know what I'm saying? And so I could do that. I can totally do that. But if this is going to get worse before it gets better, it's looking like why not be surrounded by family, even though it's unknown. Yeah, it's not a safety net because it's unknown and we don't know what's going to happen. But why not be around family when it hits the fan? Because here we'll be around family, but again, like I consider the Blairs, Matt and his family, they're family to me. Like that's not that right. That's family, but they're not going to be able to do. Huh?
I said, but we broke 5 broke too.
Exactly right. So you're not going to be able to you'll be there and support, but support don't pay the bills, right? And so and Brittany has always said to me, okay, with what we're making, with the way everything's going now. If we didn't have to pay rent, we could afford all our other bills.
Right. And that's usually what the case is. Rent is usually the one that kills the pockets because it comes out of the first of the month.
Yeah, I used to feel insecure and thinking to myself, because so real quick, if we move in, literally if we were to move in May 15th, we already have to pay. And it's like, where's that money coming from? And even if we have the stimulus check, where's the next one coming from? And I don't want to, and I don't want to live like, where's it coming from? Because for the last year, I didn't know where any of my rent was coming from. And I trusted God's daily bread. But I wonder if this is saying like, is it wise for me to be like, yeah, I can live off of faith when all the doors look like they're closing? But I also believe that the decision is up to us to make. So I pulled out my trusty quarter. and we'll get into that story later. But that being said, it sucks, bro. But that's what it's looking like. And I'm surrendering to that. And I wonder, and I'm secretly hoping that if I surrender, this is one of those, don't do it. Here you go. You got it. Right. But if it's not, then hey, Georgia was always on the table. It just happened a lot sooner. And it couldn't have come at a better time, right? Like, so we'll see. I don't know. But yeah, it sucks, man. It sucks because there's a lot that I'm cutting off and that I'm not going to be able to do. Like, I mean, I have a project that I want to release by my birthday. Like, there's so many things that I have to kind of still be able to do up there, but figure out how to do it. And then jujitsu, I told my professor, like the master, I'm like, look, like, I don't want to go anywhere that's corny. Like, I'm going where you suggest. I'm trying to keep this up like 110%. Especially.
Might be. I mean, that change might be what you need, bro.
It might be, right?
It
Like,
might be
and
something
this
what you
might be a new
need.
chapter.
Again,
And here's
another
the other thing.
situation similar to what we talking about with the kids. Like they don't know
Right.
what they need until it hits them, until it's given to them.
Right. And
then,
so I'm surrendered to that because I knew when I
Yeah.
got into the position where I'm at now and the position that I've been living my life the whole past year, I've always warned my wife, the next challenge, the next leap of faith required to us is going to be extremely challenging. Because each leap of faith always is just like, yeah. Because if you live off of the previous leap of faith, you're going to die of secondhand faith. Like faith is always challenged. It's always increasing. And there's never a limit on it, right? So like
Sure.
the next leap of faith is going to be a lot. If I thought this decision in this leap of faith was hard, the next one is going to be like, whew.
Right.
And so I've accepted that. And so we'll see right now. We turned down the offer of the other apartment, but we have not pulled the trigger to ultimately say
Yeah.
Georgia yet. But that's coming at some point. But I'm also leaving room. But there's so much more to that I don't want to dive into because we got Star here. And I want to ask Star something. Star, you have said a statement in the past that I thought was profound. And I don't know that you meant to be profound, or maybe you thought about the statement so that when people ask you, you sounded profound. But it's a statement that I resonate with and that I found myself saying, but I didn't articulate it that way until you said it because I'm like, yeah, that's the most potent way to say it. As an artist, as a professional, as a singer-songwriter, as somebody who's an expert in this field, a field that requires your time being everywhere, and you know, sometimes late hours here editing your videos and all that stuff. You said something that I love, and it was, now that I am a father, you have to justify my time away from my son. Do you still live by that, or do you find yourself wrestling with it and sometimes being like, I wish I made more time for my son? Like, where are you at in that process in your career?
No, absolutely. I live by that, but as my son gets older, the demand for my time changes. I definitely live by that for the formative years, like 1 through shit, even up to now. Like he's 8 point whatever. He's almost at an age, like he's at an age where like I could go to Publix and leave him alone, leave him by himself, and come back and he's fine, right? But like when it comes to like, yo, when I first had my son and when he's like a little kid and he just wants to hang around daddy, I would rather be him wanting to hang around daddy than anywhere else. So, you know, my time is valuable. Like if we're going to meet, especially, you know, we're at a point where, dude, like we're grown-ups and we need to provide. When you have a kid, it simply means that like, yo, you're not at the same level of freedom where you can go crash on somebody's couch while you figure your shit out. Right? Like you're at a point where everything that you do has to matter for something.
Calculating every step so I don't take one in vain.
Exactly. So, like, dude, you know, my son, he kind of just amplified my desire to maximize every minute that I'm spending. What am I spending it on?
Right.
You know?
And that makes me think of that other line that you said in your song. I'm wise, but I have my fun. No, I'm
chill, but I have my fun. I'm wise, but
I'm still young. I'm walking tall. I'm being strong. My
fingers
on
my teach my son. Like, yeah, like one of the dopest lines. Like I'm wise, but I'm still having fun. You know, like so. But that changes at every life stage, is what you're saying. And it's at that point, from what I'm seeing, you can now involve him in the process. So now he can be like, this is my dad on stage. Other times I've seen him like, and again, I would do the same. Even if my dad could have been cool. But like, I probably, if in that era, I've been like, yeah, I probably wouldn't be. I'd probably be like, all right, cool. Yeah. Like I'm playing. Yeah, he's singing, but I'm on my iPad. There's times where he's like that. But for the most part, like I'm noticing, especially more and more since we did when you did that one, I forgot the name of that small little, not club, but place that we recorded where I had the GoPro upside down and everything. There.
Were you talking about with my live band?
Yeah. There, and then like the airline arena and even, well, yeah, the airline arena. The Heat Arena.
Yeah,
like him being there and seeing you, was it that one that he was at? Was he at that one?
No, he wasn't at that one.
No. But there's I'm confusing in general the times where now the exceptions where you bring him to your
Like
shows.
sometimes he's engaged, sometimes he's not. That's basically
Right.
what you're saying, right?
Right. And I think it's cool because now he's at the reason why it's sometimes is because he's in that sometimes mind frame where sometimes you're cool and sometimes you're not. And it's not until he gets a little bit older that he's going to appreciate you and he's going to be fully engaged in your shows. As a father who sees his son bearing the mark and the gift that you have, being touched, do you have, I mean, obviously every parent is going to be like, whatever they want to do, I support. But like real G talk, like, do you see the potential that you've been telling us at the top of the show? And do you think to yourself, you can do what I do and you can even be better, right? Like you can take and you're not building on my legacy. Like you bounced off of it, but then you've gone so far that you're like Damian Marley. Okay, there's Bob Marley.
You're saying, do I see that in Zion?
Yeah.
I absolutely see the potential. I don't see the desire.
Okay, but did you have a desire at your age?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This
Zion,
is what I want
being 9,
to do.
he's like 3rd or 4th grade now, right?
Yeah, he's 3rd grade.
What does he
right,
show?
so you were 2nd grade rapping, so you already been had a desire.
This is what I've always wanted to do this, and this is the skill that I have polished my entire life. Even when doing other things on the surface, under the surface, I'm polishing this gift. Like at all times. This is always what I've done and wanted to do. Zion has the skill and he has the gift, but he doesn't have the desire. Not focused on it. He doesn't have the desire to do this. Like his desire at this point is video games.
Oh,
like,
geez.
That's the desire. Dude, that's the desire that he will tell you out of his mouth. However, I know this ain't what he's gonna be on. What I see, I used to love video games when I was a kid just as much as he loves them now.
Of course.
So as much as his involvement in them annoys me now, I get it because I used to want to spend 8 hours in front of the Sega Genesis. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, don't tell your age, bro. Don't tell your age.
Listen, I don't care, dude. Shit, I don't care. Yo, when little kids ask me how old are you, I say the same age as Drake.
That's it.
That's it. I don't even give them a number. We're 1 month apart.
I can tell them the same age as LeBron. There you go.
Exactly. Boom. But like, dude, like I see that like the way he's interested in video games now, he's gonna be interested in something else later as he grows up. When he realizes that, you know what I'm saying? When he figures himself out. I'm curious as to what that's gonna be because based on his affinities now, based on the things that he likes now, I have no idea what he's gonna like later.
Do you secretly hope that eventually that desire that's not there, that he'll find himself and in music at some point? Listen, I know that we want our kids to pick what they want. I want Dom to be whatever he wants, but sometimes I do want you to be a soccer player. Huh?
I think it'll be neat if he does choose music eventually because then I can provide high levels of like contribution. But
would that be a highlight for you in your life, doing a song with your son?
No, a highlight in my life will be being appreciated by my son.
There you go.
Okay, no, I get that. Let me rephrase. The highlight in your career, or like, because I agree with the being appreciated.
Nah, I've already recorded Zion. Zion got his own freestyle, bro. Like Zion is on one of my records. He's on "Show Me the Way." If you listen to the end of the song, that little kid singing "Show Me the Way," that's Zion. Like I got Zion on recording. You're talking about his creativity meeting my creativity and coming together.
So I'm not talking about the cute stuff. I'm talking about, hey, Dad. Okay, so I'm listening to this beat and like, okay, so I'm thinking like I'm talking about like engaging in that process.
To be completely honest, like I'm not even on that, bro. I'm not even on that. I literally, for him to collaborate with me on anything that is of substantive value to him as an adult. I'm curious. I don't care if he goes into doing music. Let me not say I don't care. Like, it will make no bigger difference to me whether he finds passion in music or if he finds passion in accounting or if he finds passion. Just that he finds passion in something.
Sure.
That will contribute. Right now, I personally don't see how video games will contribute to humanity beyond what it's doing now. So I really I'm not aligned with where his passion is as an 8-year-old. But
But
I
he's eight.
just simply care that his passion and my passion can parallel when he becomes of age. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yeah.
That's where I'm
Absolutely.
at. Whether it's
Absolutely.
music or not, I don't give a fuck. I don't care.
Right. Right.
Sure.
If it is
And that's
music,
good.
amazing.
What I think that's our jobs as the dads is to as parents in general, right? Is to be attentive to that and keep an eye out. You know what I mean? Like we're
Yeah.
not going to push them into their position, right? Like my parents had some way of form shaping me kind of who I am. But as I got older, it was other people around me who kind of helped navigate me into the direction that I've gone into, right? Into the ministry, and even into sales now. Like I love sales because I'm good with people. I don't mind talking to people. I don't mind talking to people I don't know. But you can also make a lot of money doing sales. And that
Yeah.
for me is the platform that can set my family up for giving my kids opportunities that I didn't have. So I feel like now I see stuff, everybody asks me, your kid gonna be a basketball player? I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, I want my kid to be, people keep texting me, dog, and shaking my phone
Same.
up.
Same.
So I
I'm
want my
hoping
kids to
nobody
be successful,
calls.
right? Yeah, it's all good. We need to wrap it up anyway. So I'm looking at my kids now, and I record them playing soccer or something like that. And I'm like, of course they're going to be good at kicking a ball and running at the same time because like that's what kids can do at age 3. You know what I mean? It's like running and dribbling the ball with your hand is a different story. So I don't know if they're going to be great soccer players, but if they end up taking a liking to it, I'll put them into it and put them in a position to be successful.
Yeah.
I can't help them in that because I cannot play soccer and I don't know the rules. So
Right. Right.
me, it's being able to put them in a position where they can be successful and have successful people around them, man. So I feel like I hear you,
Right.
Star, man. It's like we got to be able to kind of see what our kids are good at and put them in a position to be successful at it and be their best cheerleader.
Yeah.
100%.
Honor their
100%.
parents.
And if I can even shine some light onto even like why I'm doing music, bro. Like, yo, my dream is not to go down in some Hall of Fame. My dream is to build up enough value to my skill set and my name that I can disappear and help other people do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's I want to disappear with value. That's what I want to do. Yo, I don't need to be a household name legend, yo. I would rather write the songs for the household names and get royalty checks to my mailbox and chill the fuck out in my neighborhood where my neighbors don't know what I do.
Right.
That's my dream.
Right.
But because I chose the path of just sending out positivity in my records, it makes the amount of people that I can do that dream for a lot less until I popularize what I do. That's why I'm an artist, so that I can popularize my style of songwriting so that I can disappear and do it for other people.
Yeah.
That's my vision.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
That's fire, man.
Mike.
And this is all somebody. And we didn't even get a chance to cover this, man. This wasn't an origin story. I thought it would be, but this is all starting from a kid who wrote lyrics for his classrooms, show and tell, and then eventually in a group, not a band, but in a group known as the Free Agents, or very early on in your age, you were in a group making music, and then at a point you are now in this solo career, which was a big deal for you. And I think when I met you, you were just breaking away from the Free Agents. So like that, your journey has been one that has been interesting. And I think that honestly, bro, this is so funny. Like every guest that we've had so far, it's like we have so much that we want to say. And then it's always like, let's add you on the comeback list, right? That's because there's so much more to cover, right? Like we want to hear your story, man. And I think your story would have been good, but and I also think a lot of interviews have provided that. You have provided that, so you can send links for people to see that. But I think this is more so Star the dad and the artist, and people. This was good. This was good. I legit thought we were gonna start like we were gonna go down like origin story, like the origin story of this superhero songwriter kind of thing. But this to me is even better. Like we get to hear like your deep thoughts as you're in them, even right, like. Because
I would prefer to have phone calls with homies that can ask me personal questions and interviews with homies than to have somebody ask me about how did you come into it, and like what anybody can ask. I would rather these conversations, bro, because it enables me, bro. When would I ever talk about my frustration as a father in an interview about my music?
bro.
Right,
That was my
right,
favorite part. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Let me hear about that, bro.
right,
I would
right.
Hey,
rather talk about that because that's the therapy that I need right now. I don't need to tell somebody how great of an artist I am. I need to
sure,
tell
that's
somebody how
good.
fucking frustrated I am to where I can't do this interview in the house. I got to go to the car because I'm fucking lit right now. That's
Well,
Right.
tell what happened, Star? Because
Nah, let's put this on pause and we can finish later, bro. This hour and 15-minute episode, bro.
it's no, it's contracts. It's verbal agreements. That's what had me lit. Verbal agreements and not sticking to it.
you
That's
see
it.
how easily we can break an hour? It doesn't even feel like we've broken an hour. Like when I look,
Oh
it's
yeah.
an hour and 15, but it feels like 20, 30 minutes. Like it's
No, it
very.
feels like hours.
Feel
It
like hour
feels like an
15.
hour.
My booty
Yeah.
starting to get tender, and my eyes starting to close.
Oh God. Every time. Hey, so
I,
Matt, really quick, it's funny that you say that because in the episode with Sierra, David was like, he looks like he's getting tired at the end. Like he looks like he's zoning out. And I was like, he did say we have to wrap the episode because he was about to fall asleep. Not because he was bored, but because the dude was just exhausted.
So as we
hey,
wrap it up, just so you know, Gio, the version that I sent you of Complicated, that's version 3, is after our conversation where you said, nah, do it chill back. This was the compromise where for the second verse, you said the first verse is good. The second verse I did with more energy. You said it doesn't need that type of energy. This is the
It doesn't.
compromise because I didn't want the original lyrics of the first version that I sent you. I updated the lyrics and delivered it with the energy that you recommended.
All right, let me hear it because guys, for those who don't know and who love Star, I'm just gonna go ahead and just say, bro, like I feel honored and grateful that one of my groomsmen, best friend for many years, but like brother, that he trusts me enough to be able to critique his music and change what ends up being a final product that you guys love. And for our fan base who are listening, who is a very intimate fan base, they know who Alexander Starr is. So that's good. For those who are also listening who don't know, where can the people find you at, Star?
find them.
Oh, well, that's easy, man. You just Google my name. That's my
There it is.
that's my yeah, that's it. Boy, you just Google me.
Or you can go on Alexander Stars where they follow me at Twitter.
I don't do at this point in time. Don't do Twitter. I'm not too engaged on Twitter.
Right.
For no reason, Twitter don't like not verify me for that reason. But like my main platforms are like Instagram, Mr. Alexander Starr, Mr. Alexander Starr, and Facebook. Same thing. It's Mr. Alexander Starr across the board. That's my social media. Like I grab that branding, right?
Right.
So whatever platform it is, if you do Mr. Alexander Starr, that's me. But Instagram and Facebook are my two most active ones.
Word.
Word. Where can the people find you at, Matt?
They can find me at Bearded Black Dad on IG, and you can also find me at Matthew Anthony Blair on Facebook. Now I got back on, man.
Dude, sold out.
Hey,
I had to, man. It's for work.
It's for
Anyways,
work. We'll see.
what about you?
And you can find me at GEEOH8GO8 on Instagram. You can find us at Dads of the Dale on Instagram, Facebook, first name Dale, last name Dads. What's our email address, Matt? Let them know.
dadsofthedale@gmail.com.
You already know. We are, and now on YouTube, Dads of the Dale, period. We have been building up a lot. We have been building up content for you. We are building up, and you've seen us a lot more active. That's because we are shoving Dads of the Dale down your throat. Join us, be a lot of Dalian. If not, it's okay. You can be the name in your corner. But yeah, feel me, a lot of Dalian.
Yo.
Hey, that's right. So we'll finish off with. Go ahead. It's your boy. You go ahead, Star.
Huh? Oh,
it's your boy.
Like you to like shout us out.
No, you know how we opened up. Now you can close us out with "It's your boy Star."
You say "It's your boy Star," and then I'll go next.
Yeah.
Oh, so everybody does it. So this ain't like the episode closing, or are we doing the episode closing?
This is the episode closing right here.
Wait, but okay, so boom, it's your boy Alexander Starr on Dads of the Dale because I'm a dad of the Dale. Like, is that what you're saying? Something like that?
No. Just say it's your boy Alexander Starr.
Oh, that's it. Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, never mind. My bad. Oh shit. Okay.
I love it.
That gummy kicked in, yo. All right.
We gotta go.
Go ahead.
I saw him chewing on something.
Boy, Mr. Alexander Starr.
It's your boy Matt.
It's your boy Gio, and we the
And
dads.
we the dads of the
of
day.
the- Oh,
Oh.
Lights on the